A really remarkable piece of video that our affiliate here in Los Angeles, KTTV, captured live. And if you haven't, people around the country need to see this because it, in a way, is representative of what all of the protests really started about, the relations between...
It's a microcosm.
Yes, between police and the African-American community. So this is in Van Nuys, a section of LA, where there were some store owners who were out there protecting their store from looters.
And Charles, can I just say, the woman in blue is going to become very important. She is a community organizer who has known the people at that liquor store, who've known them for 30 years, and was out to help protect the store from what appears to be looters.
Right. She's
as did people
serving as a liaison
from the store.
Right. She's trying to tell the what appeared to, like you said, who appear to be looters. She's trying to talk them down, saying, "Hey, you guys get out of here." They obviously want to get to the store, and the store owners are there, armed, defending their store.
So we're gonna pick this up. So Christina Gonzalez is the reporter. She has been a reporter in LA, a great reporter for decades, and everybody knows her, and they know her there, and the cops know her. So you see this woman; she is flagging down cops, trying to get somebody's attention.
To say we are facing looters here. They're closing in on us. Please come help us.
Watch what happens.
So here come the police officers to help these community members.
The guys on the other side are in cars. All right, here they come. The guys here are trying to stop over there from looting in the cars. All right, now they're telling them, no, they're fine.
They're good.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. No. They're the store owners. They were protecting the looters, sir.
Whoa.
They're protecting the stores. The looters are over there.
Stand down for a sec, please. Yeah, relax.
You're losing your looters. They're going down that way. These are the people in the store trying to stop.
Point.
All three of them.
Okay, we're putting those in handcuffs right now.
They're not the looters.
Where's the looter?
It's incredible.
And I want to say this before.
I watched this on live TV yesterday. I couldn't believe it.
I have family in law enforcement, and I understand that the police are in a very difficult situation there with a lot of people they don't know, and they don't know what's going on. But they did take the time to turn and ask her who's who here. And she's telling them. Now, if you're going to ask her and she's telling you, then listen to her. And they eventually did. We should say that the police, once they got it sorted out, let the store owners out of their zip ties that they were in and released them. They were never taken into custody. But
and Charles,
bad. Like, they immediately went to, these were the closest, what it played like is, these are the closest black people we could find. Let's put them in cuffs.
Now, there's another incident that happened also in Los Angeles where after the curfew,
LA County sheriffs, they pull up on the corner and start firing rubber bullets. Now, they are rubber bullets, but still, these kids who didn't seem to, I mean, maybe they're out after curfew, but they don't appear to be doing anything other than walking on the sidewalk, and suddenly they're fleeing from this hail of rubber bullets.
Getting shot at. And again, if this is a curfew and these guys are having bullets fired at their backs in fear.
That's not how you deal with a curfew issue.
No.
Police brutality in general, specifically in George Floyd's case, and yet you still see things like we are about to show you. This happened in New York City last night. Now, yes, New York City was under a curfew. I believe it was 8 p.m. was the curfew. We're told this video was shot at around 10 p.m. Watch what is happening in the crosswalk as there's a man on his bicycle and police are beating him with their batons.
You know what's really hard about this is, we don't know what was said before. You really can't hear if the bicycle guy said anything.
Dennis.
Hold on. Let me finish.
No, Dennis. You can't tell me.
Listen, because I was going to say, I know a lot of these clips. I've talked to a lot that are out there all over the United States that are on these lines, and usually they give them the opportunity to go home. So I don't know what is going on here, and there's something missing. Because if it's just exactly what you see, they come up and thump them. That is unacceptable.
Dennis, what I got to call you out on is you said you don't know what was said before. I don't know. I
don't know if there's any reaction.
Nothing
I don't know
that
if they
he could have said. Dennis, short of him saying, "I have a bomb and I'm gonna," there's nothing he can say that it warrants beating him with your baton. It has been another interesting day of protests. Mostly, we have to say that most of the protesting we've seen across the country have largely been very peaceful. And yet there are still clashes with police. And we've been talking about this. And I don't want to make it, I don't want us to seem like we are glorifying any of this violence, because we're not. But it is important to show this because this is exactly what people are marching about. Yes, this started because of the tragic killing of George Floyd, but in a larger sense, this is all about changing the way policing is done in this country and the interactions between police and civilians. Well, in Chicago last night, during a protest, there were protesters in the street. I'm imagining this was after curfew, and it appears the police are trying to clear the streets. But one officer, for some reason, seems like he just had a vendetta with one particular civilian. You'll see him charge after this guy, knock him to the ground, and he's not even using his baton at this point. It just seems personal. He's throwing left hooks at this guy. Got so enraged, he even ended up hitting another officer at one point. The incident in Buffalo, which I'm sure you've seen by now, was just horrific. And again, and this was in an even less violent environment. I mean, there was no chaos. There's just this one guy standing there, and he gets shoved.
He ends up in the hospital, and he's in serious condition. You can barely clearly see that there was some sort of head injury. But the thing that was really remarkable to me, Charles, is that in pretty much less than an hour, this went from a police spokesperson saying, hey, one person was injured when they tripped and fell, to 2 officers being suspended. This man's in the hospital with a serious injury. Thank God for phone video.
It's some very dramatic video now of an arrest made by LAPD. This one, not clearing people from a curfew, not even protesters. According to the LAPD, these were looters who apparently thought they had made a clean getaway, but police tracked them down a ways from the store where they allegedly took this loot.
Yeah, they had a helicopter, follow them. They got him stopped.
Well,
and
hold on, Dennis. Dennis, hang on one second. I just want to point out, like, you can see in this video here what the police did when they got to the sedan, shattering the side windows on both sides of the car and yanking all the passengers and the driver out, making these arrests. So you can tell, Dennis, that's how they got to them.
Yeah. Prior to this, when they had the car surrounded, what doesn't show in the video was the driver revved the engine and actually lurched forward and almost hit a cop. And they refused to get out of the car. That's why they broke the windows, to get him out quickly, because you see there's a big crowd around. You can see there's a lot of cops doing a perimeter to make sure this is done safely and quickly.
So now you can get into how they located the car.
Well, actually, there was a police helicopter. There was this guy followed him, and they allegedly had just looted a Urban Outfitters. In fact, they found thousands of dollars of merchandise in the trunk of the car with the tag still on it.
Okay, so, and I will say, look, this video got a lot of attention because people felt like this was another case of police brutality, shattering the windows. It was reminiscent of that video we saw earlier in the week in Atlanta, where they did the same thing to a couple, shattered the windows, but they took that couple out at gunpoint. In fact, fired their taser on one of the people. Didn't see any of that in this situation.
No, and if you notice, there were so many supervisors. If you see the 3 stripes and the rocker on the bottom, there were sergeants there, detective supervisors involved in that. There's a lot of supervision going on. This was handled excellent.
Dennis, none of us saw this video that way. Nobody was looking at there's supervisors in a number of bars.
We're talking.
Only Dennis looks at these videos that way.
I mean, listen, you're talking about police and they're getting out of line, and here you are, multiple supervisors at this, so that doesn't happen. They're supervising their officers, going, go easy. That's actually, I commend the LAPD for that.
Was an incredible, just visually, sight here in Hollywood over the weekend. 2 straight days of massive protests. You know that the protests over George Floyd's killing have been continuing across the country, but I got to tell you, what we saw here this weekend was amazing. Starting with Sunday's protests in Hollywood, where an estimated 50,000 people turned out and marched through the streets of Hollywood. And there were a lot of celebrities who were in the crowd and not really there to steal the spotlight. They were not there making speeches on Sunday. They were just marching with the masses. Jennifer Lopez was there, and A-Rod was there as well. Machine Gun Kelly, and tons of names who were there. YG in particular was there, not only helped organize this event, but he also used it as a backdrop for a new music video. He has done a new version of the NWA classic, Blank the Police. And he actually shot the music video while the parade was going on, used the march and the sights and the sounds for his music video. That was Sunday, and that was amazing. there was something else that happened on Saturday that we really want to get into because of what was said. So Michael B. Jordan and Kendrick Sampson led a Black Lives Matter march through parts of West Hollywood and Beverly Hills. What was interesting here is what was said once they got to Michael B. Jordan stopped, and I think this was in like the Century City area, which is interesting because he was talking about Hollywood and how agents, a lot of whom are in Century City, how agents and studios really need to be more open to Black culture, giving Black artists more control over their art in Hollywood. And then they got to the Beverly Hills Police Department. That's when Kendrick Sampson took the mic. Kendrick Sampson from Insecure, a lot of other things, very talented actor, and clearly very passionate about the issues that have been, discussed openly across the country, thank God, finally, about changing policing and also about even the president's response to these protests. So here's some of what Kendrick had to say.
We're in front of Beverly Hills PD right now. Guess what we're trying to do? Defund the police. That includes this place right here. The thing is, we need this money for our communities. They've said for so long that they don't have the funding for the things that we need to liberate us. I have skin still hanging from my leg. It's not a few bad apples. It's the entire system.
So what he's referring to there is last week, he was part of a protest in downtown LA and actually ended up getting hit with a police baton several times. It says he also got hit by rubber bullets.